Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Whiteout, which is a new action thriller from Saban Films, coming from writer-director Derek Barnes, who co-wrote this film with James McDougall and Douglas Nyback, who are both in the film, starring along with Joel LaBelle, and we have focusing on three men who escape a Russian labor camp, and they overcome treacherous wilderness and each other as they journey home turns into a brutal fight for survival. There's a lot more layers to this film as this film goes on, and people's purposes in this escape and why they were brought in. And I feel like James McDougall has a big weight on his shoulders in this film, one of the co-writers and stars, as his character, Henry, isn't quite sure why he's brought into the fold for this escape, and when it becomes apparent, it's brutal and opens this film up for some really brutal moments and elements and some darkness. And this film really challenges you in that way, and how far will you go to survive? How much will you put up with to survive? And to what lengths will you go to escape horrific situations? Now, there's that key element here that really does shake up this formula. A lot of the rest of the film feels very contrived and, familiar in terms of, it's a survival film. They're out in the wilderness. It's the snow. I don't think the film really does a whole lot to make this experience feel particularly unique or dynamic or interesting or different. But you do have this particular element that feels so impactful, and it takes a little while for you to get there. I think the cast does a fine job. Generally, it's you're all playing very specific types of characters who really lean into one or two characteristics, and it's keeping it simple. There's nothing particularly flashy or interesting or different in this. You have films like The Grey, and I don't want to try to compare this to other films, but it's hard to make, it's a couple of guys wandering through the snow trying to survive, feel unique and different. That's a film that found ways to make that compelling and interesting. This has this one particular element, but it takes a long time to get there. And sure, it brings in some brutality to this and some thrilling moments and some shocking elements. But in general, I feel like much of this film is just going to go down as, okay, well, this is a thrilling, bloody, violent survival thriller. Nothing particularly by the end really stands out and makes this something where it's wow, I'm going to want to revisit and go watch this again. It's put together in a fine way, has some fine performances, has little bits of elements that make it a bit more compelling than it could have been. It could have just been, the bickering back and forth and kept it even more simple. But it does attempt to have some added layers. So, when the credits roll, you sat through, less than 90 minutes of a thrilling, unnerving experience at times, mixed with a lot of just, some by-the-numbers tension and banter between this small group of men. So, if you're really into action thrillers and survival films, this will be up your alley. If you are looking for something deeper, more compelling, this will have its moments, but it's not going to keep your attention so much throughout the whole thing. And most likely, you'll probably forget about this soon after, but for the less than 90 minutes you're watching it, it has some thrills, it has some shocking moments that'll keep you engaged. But those are my thoughts on Whiteout. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.